Hello everyone, I'd like to welcome you to my YouTube channel. This is Steve. What I'm going to be showing you today is a video called Unboxing an eBay order I just received, which I've been waiting on this order for quite some time. I wouldn't say, quite some time, but the fact is it's a really good order that I actually won here. So anyways, this is a Commodore 64 video, so you're going to see a lot of Commodore 64 content. Now, for those who want to know, a lot of these books are already available online. You can get them at the bombjock.org or whatever website, where he uploads all the PDFs for the actual books and everything. But let's get started here. So the box is right there. I don't know if you guys see part of the box, but he seemed to have stacked it sideways. So let me kind of show you real quick what I'm talking about. So look at it this way. It's sideways. The box is like this. And it's sideways. It's the only way you can open it. You can't open it apparently from the side or whatever, which I thought would be the top. It's really packed really good, that's for sure. I thought they were probably like 30 books. This thing is loaded with books. So let's take a look here. This one looks like it's pretty old. It's called Intermediate Commodore 64. It's actually a $14.95 book back in the days. Man, that'd be kind of expensive. This is really cool. It's actually got some machine language programs in it. You can see that a little bit. Assembly language. Not bad at all, really. So there's one. It's going to take a while to go through these. This one, oh my gosh. I think I remember this book. It's called Commodore 64 Games Book. And it's actually got some pretty cool pictures on the back there too. You can kind of see that. Probably some of the games that you'll be typing in. And this is really, really cool. Oh, this is awesome too because it shows you step by step, like you're looking at the actual program, and you've got the pictures and the screenshots. Look at that, there's even sprites there. How cool is that? It's by Clifton and Mark Gramshaw. But that looks really good, so I'll never have to buy it. This one is really cool. Check this out. Anatomy of the 1541 disk drive. So this one's kind of got some... It's got a little bit of watermarking, what do you call it, water damage there. But other than that, it's really good. It's loaded with assembly language programs. I cannot even begin to show you this. If you look at this, man, there's like assembly language programs back to back in this book. I never would have seen this online because I never would have imagined it was an assembly language book. So that's one of the advantages to having the actual books too. This thing is so cool. So if I ever really want to know anything about the drive, there it is. This one is called More on the C64. Can you see that? And let's take a look. No surprise, it's loaded with assembly language programs again. Look at that. Oh my gosh. There's an advertisement. I never saw something about Atari. How to connect your C64 with an Atari, that's what it said. Some of these books I've never even seen, even when I was at the library. This one's called Commodore 64 Data Files. Home inventory, mail file. I remember mail readers. Let me see if there's anything else. It's just got data files in it and stuff like that. So interesting. This one is going to be probably one of my favorites, or something close to there. The Machine Language Book of the Commodore 64. Oh my goodness. I don't even know where to even go with this one because it's actually got basic and assembly language programs in it. And plenty of examples. Totally cool. It's not in bad condition either. By Basket Software. I won't show you all the listings because that could take some time, but anyways, this one I used to check out here and near. I remember this one, the Commodore Collection Computes. Now the best books you can ever get for the Commodore or the Atari is actually the Compute books. They always write a really good book. If you look at them here, they even, how do you say it, they kind of separate them by section. Like that says applications there, and they have a nice, like a little separation between them. It's got utilities, graphics, programming aids, mostly basic. And I think that's why I was more in love with it, because I really wasn't heavily into assembly language in those days, but a lot of basic examples, pretty cool stuff. Now, of course, you can't go without saying, I already have this book. It's actually over there on the shelf, I believe. This is a little bit different than mine. It's like a blue coloring, mapping the Commodore 64. It says plus 128 on it. It's a $14.95 book. So we already know what this book's all about. Many times if I showed this book, you know, it's the #1 book you can get for the Commodore if you really want to go further and really understand the internals, because basically you need to know all about how addresses work and bits work and all that stuff. Okay, I might have to grab some of these on the side. They're falling out. This one is called Toolkit Basic VIC and Commodore 64. Got a weird orange color to it. $16.95 value back in the days. Toolkit Basic. So it's probably teach you more about basic programming. You know, how the basic interpreter works. I can't really get much out of it. It's got some assembly language examples in it. So I've never seen this one before. The blue book for the Commodore 64. The Commodore computer. This is like ancient. Even the coloring in this, I'll show you. Look at the coloring in there. It's like a really weird, like an ink print, like a blue ink print. Really weird back in the days. This is almost like the kind you'd see in a university or something. The complete where to find it book of software, hardware, and accessories for the Commodore PET, VIC-20, and Commodore 64 computers. So apparently, it's like the go-to all book for all of them. That ought to be interesting. This book I used to check out quite often too. It had some pretty good games. Commodore 64 Color Graphics Advanced Guide. An advanced guide. You can see it's got some example programs in there and stuff like that. That's probably why I liked it. There's an example of a graphic right there. Crazy games for your Commodore 64. I have no doubt that this guy he must have grew up with the Commodore 64. Unless he's been collecting all these, I've never seen an order this big before. And even mine has never, you know, this is way surpassed my order with Commodore 64 stuff. But anyways, these are little exercises. They got little pictures in them. There's a little maze and stuff like that. So I don't really know what this one's about. It's probably more like a beginner's book. Just by looking at the programs, I can tell some of them, a lot of graphics ones. It's like there is some kind of a... Yeah, here's an example that is for kids. Look at that. There's like pictures of cartoons and, you know, animals and stuff like that. So, yeah, interesting. I've never seen this one. Commodore 64 programs for the home. So this is kind of like those activities and recreation. I can't figure out what this is all about. Let's see what this one says. Tutor program. Some of a tutor program. Probably some of the earliest introductions before Commodore started really going crazy with games and stuff like that. We're not even halfway through the box. This is amazing. The Commodore 64 music book. So who really want to advance yourself in music, this would be the book to go to. White noise. Yeah, I've always wanted to know more about the sound. I've always been confused about that in some ways. Programming volume controls. He's even got a receipt in here. Okay, so I know this guy is actually, let me see what the date on this receipt is. I'm curious. Yep. November 1st, 1983. Look at that. That's pretty old, huh? You see that? Receipt in the book. That tells you he is probably a collector. Unless he bought these from somebody. This is really awesome. Electronic sound. Okay. An introduction to the Commodore 64, Adventures in Programming. I have a feeling this could be a text adventure. No, actually it's not. There's a sprite right there, a picture of a ship, some kind of a battleship game or something. He's got a bookmarker in here. Let's see here. Oh, he's got a little... These must have been sitting in his storage. He's got like, I don't know what this is. This isn't the receipt. Creating a sprite on a Commodore 64. This one is dated July of 2009, so he must have bought this one online or something. You're on the right channel if you want to learn about how the game design works and just how to, if you got any other stuff you want to know more about, maybe the disk drive and just the internals of your computer. I've got enough information where I could actually figure it out even if I don't know. But I've studied Commodore 64 computers for quite a while. Most people on my channel can contest to that. Yes. Every time I see machine language, I go crazy. Computes machine language games for the Commodore 64. There we go. So this one, even the listings are super small. Look at that. That's kind of interesting how small they are. Because these are larger programs, more than likely. They were able to squeeze them in a book. And it's even got some of the old MLX stuff. Which is MLX editor used to type in those old kind of programs like that, you know, where they're like hex code and stuff like that. Alright. Campaign manager. I'm trying to see what this long one is. There's like a super long listing in here. Maybe it would take ages to type this thing in. Hopefully it's available online where you can download it into the emulator. It's called Cutoff Source Code. I have no idea what that is yet. I loved this book when I was growing up. Conquering the Commodore 64 Kingdom. This one was really good at really teaching me more about the graphics of the Commodore 64. And it's got, you know, some basic listings and stuff like that in there. So pretty good stuff here. A lot of good... Oh, Skydiver. I remember this one, Skydiver. This was a program I typed in. I have it on actually on my disk somewhere, too. What's the year of this book? 1984. I started on my Commodore 64 around 1987 or 88 or something like that. I started kind of late because I was mostly into the Atari stuff. But yeah, this looks pretty good. RoboDive. I remember this. It's got some sprite, you know, programs in it and stuff like that. That'll be fun. The Working Commodore 64. This is a really like a hardback book. He bought this somewhere because it's got a price on it for $9.95, like one of those price tags. 1984. Maybe that was the original price. It was like a sale price or something. I can't make out where it is. But interesting. By David Lawrence, and let's see what this one's about. It's got some graphics programs in it, finance programs, education. I think that's about it, and some little tips and utilities and stuff like that. It looks like pretty interesting. Small business programs for the Commodore 64. When the Commodore 64 used to be the go-to for business. This is probably like 1980 something, 84. Yep, even one for mortgage. That's interesting. It calculates the monthly payment on a mortgage. People are going to use that. This is before Excel and all those things that took over and made things much easier. Calculations back in the days, they had to write them in, you know, line by line. And well, this is interesting too. It talks about like some of the ports on the computer and stuff like that. This one is Commodore 64 Exposed. I've never seen this one before. It's got like a really hard back cover to it. Melbourne House Publishers, I've seen a few of those I think already. Music. It's got some sprite examples right there. You see the picture of the letter and stuff like that. And assembly language listing. Bear with me on these guys. I'm just a fanatic over assembly language, so if you wonder why I see assembly language programs, I just go fanatic because I know the power of what can be unlocked with assembly language. Okay, so we're about halfway through the book. Can you believe that? A box. Commodore 64 assembly language. This is going to be a love book. I'm so sure of it. Yep, so you got programs in it. It's kind of a guide to teach you stuff. Telephone line, that's interesting. Break principle and binary search. I like it when they talk about other stuff other than just, you know, teaching you assembly language. They actually start showing you how to use it in the real world and stuff like that. Back in the days, there was a telephony was pretty popular then. People used to do. If you ever seen Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs, they first started doing telephone hacking with the blue box. So that looks interesting. Oh yeah, I saw this one, and this one really attracted me. Commodore 64 Assembly Language Programming. I was talking about rotate left, rotate right. It gives you a better explanation of them. I always thought some of the books I've studied didn't explain those very well, about how to calculate 16-bit numbers. It's actually got it in here. That's pretty cool. Some lot bigger books. Commodore 64 Color Graphics, A Beginner's Guide. Didn't I just see this book somewhere? Oh, so one's an advanced guide and one's a beginner's guide. So this is the beginner's guide. So probably going to have more basic programs. And here's a picture of some graphic there, if you can see it. It's like a ship or something. And they kind of, I see another interesting thing here. He's got something here printed out. The upper nibble, this guy's studying assembly language or something. No, he's studying background. This looks like a university book or something. It's almost talking about, we can see that or not, but it's talking about, like he's got writing on it like he was studying it or something. And it's got figure 2-4, like it was a screenshot. So it almost looks like it could have been from a university or something. And it's just 3D graphics. Oh, look at this in the back. This is just incredible. I love it when they put all these pictures, examples of how sprites look, and then give you the data and examples for them. This one is perfect. So then I don't have to sit there and start coming up with my own stuff. I can kind of use that to kind of recreate stuff, you know. Because most of the games I've ever designed in is re-engineering off of somebody else's work and just basically modifying it. And that's some of the best things you can do. He recreated their own. He's got something in this book. He was studying it or something. Somebody was. It's basically, I don't know if you can see that, but it's Poke 783, Commodore 0, Poke 781, Poke 782, System 65520. And if you go in this book, of course, 783, I think this is either the screen position or it's an interrupt. I've played with Atari so much in the last few days, sometimes I get the addresses mixed up. So you can go in here and you can kind of peek at it. Storage area for the status register. And I thought that was X and Y position, but I might be wrong, I don't know. So C64 graphics, sorry if I just showed it, I couldn't remember, I got a little distracted there. Designing graphic shapes. Oh yeah, I took it and I put it back in this book, didn't I? Oh well, doesn't matter, I guess. It's got some pictures of like font lettering in the back. Actually, it's just pictures. It doesn't really have like any of the bits where you can see and design your own stuff. Okay, so I stuck it back in the book. So it's got color in it. Got some more sprite examples. This one ought to be interesting. Might start this with my first book or something. I like that. It's Compute, and Compute always makes, like I said, those really good books. Okay. Third book of Commodore 64. Oh, maybe it was. Maybe it was just one I saw in the advertisement. This was a favorite book back in the days. It's got a lot of good programs in it. It's got game examples, applications, education. This was, I'm pretty sure this is one of my favorite books. Outside of assembly language, of course. But this was like, I look around on my disk, I probably have some of these programs lying around somewhere. But anyway, sound, it's got everything in it, so pretty good. Here's one of these little smaller books again. The Commodore 64 Program Building Blocks. I've never seen this one before. If you are awed by the technical complexity of programming or dissatisfied with prepackaged inadequate software, Commodore 64 Program Building Blocks offers you the ideal solution. Here's one book in a library of basic modular programs and useful subroutines that can be linked together to form your own customized programs. It's like a beginner's guide almost. A lot of this stuff kind of self-explanatory to me already. I don't see any assembly language or anything really advanced there. But anyways, using the Commodore 64 in the home, here's one of those other home books. They were kind of popular back in the days. I don't know why I turned to this page. I just saw Demon's Lair, and I'm pretty sure I typed this one in my computer. Some kind of a game or something. It almost looks like it. So you see some of the examples there. It's talking about, it shows a wall treasure, monster door player. So I'm pretty sure that I've typed this one in before. Mutation maker. Wildlife warden. Pirate. So it's very similar to something I did. Swordmaster, yeah. I have that one on disc. When was this? 1983. I wasn't on computers at the time, but I found it at the library much later. I'm going to pull some of these heavier ones out. This one, that's a highlight. This is actually interesting. The Timeline Step-by-Step Guide to the Commodore 64. It's actually a hardback book. I don't know if you can see, it's kind of like, you know, shiny. Oh, this is totally cool. It shows like little listings there. Like of the, you see it on the back too, right there. Commodore interface. I don't know if I remember this one. I don't. VisiCalc. It's actually, look at that, saying that now you can turn your Commodore 64 into a VisiCalc. Interesting. Got a business reply card in here. That's pretty old. It's like it's kind of a little scabbed at the top, but other than that, it's not bad. What's this? Key to successful electronic purchasing, Electech. I have no idea what that means. It's like a magazine almost. Can't make out what it is. Some order guide. Yeah, it's an order guide. Oh my gosh, there's an order guide in here. That's pretty amazing because there was one ordering guide. I wish I could remember the name of this company. I have it written down in my journal somewhere, but I used to order from them everything. And I ordered my Amiga from there. They had everything you could ever want. This was after the Commodore 64 was moving out of the stores. Now this book I bought, and I personally owned it, 35 Amazing Games. This was a pretty cool book to get started, and it shows you some of the example games on the back. I think that was kind of an attractive seller for me, since I'm very visual on that. Moonlander, yeah, I'll probably have every one of these programs on disc. Bomb Squad. They're not the greatest programs, but I just remember being attracted to that. Okay. Commodore Puzzle Book, basic Brainteasers. Some people might like this Brainteasers one. Look. I look at the listings. It's very, very basic. That's kind of how they all look there. And they call this a Brainteasers. So it's like when you first want to learn about the Commodore 64, you would probably go here to learn about input and stuff like that, and a little bit of simple stuff, but nothing really big. See the bigger ones in the back, calculating numbers, yeah. Very basic stuff. Nothing really too interesting, but nevertheless, it's a book. Introducing Commodore 64 machine code. Oh yeah. Hopefully this is a good one. Some of those other ones I saw just blew my mind. Trying to see if this is just a tutorial or if it's got a little bit more in it. It looks like it has a little bit more in it. Ins and outs and roundabouts. So that'd be interesting. I'm learning stuff I could learn in these. 6502 details. It talks about the chip. The 6502 chip there. Kind of interesting. So yeah, that sounds pretty cool. So, see what else we have here. Assembly language for kids on the Commodore 64. I think I remember downloading this PDF and looking at it. Because I said the word assembly language in it. He's got another insertion in here. He's got a little program example in there for assembly language. Somebody does. Joystick draw. The joystick draw routine. Probably taken from this book. Sprite Zero starter. Unless it's got a assembly language that gets you going. Jumping in, memory and storage. There might be some useful information in here. I say useful because I consider myself an advanced assembly language programmer, because I've studied it for the longest time. 10 essential utilities for Commodore 1581 owners. I've never owned a 1581, just a 1541. So I don't know if this will be a benefit. It's a pretty dense book though. Just things in general about the 1581, the bus mode, and it's got like little, you can just see the examples how they're broken up, kind of like references and stuff like that. Anyways, looks like almost like a college book. We are getting pretty close to the end. Trying to see if there's going to be anything hidden at the bottom, but he didn't apparently put any disc in it. I guess it would have probably cost him more. I think I'll contact him to see if he'll sell me the disc he was talking about. He had some discs with him. Okay, so here's a good one. Commodore's first compute of 64 sound and graphics. Yes, I used to check this one out a lot too. Really good to get me started. It's got a sprite editor in here. In fact, this might be the sprite editor I've used for the longest time. Let me take a look. So it says sprite editor. So let me just take a look at it. It's got some spotted in it, like somebody who spilled coffee on it. Looks like it could have been used like in a business or something. That's kind of weird though. Or just somebody was drinking their coffee while playing with it. Here's some more sprite examples there. Kind of cool. So it's got kind of both. There's a semi-language listing. What's this for? It's pretty massive. It's a big listing. Thought I was going to get it on a few pages. It's a sketch pad. It's the source code to a sketch pad, and I think I remember this one. It was like a complete drawing utility. You could draw and save your own pictures and stuff like that. Touch bar raster interrupts. That looks like a good book. I said, and I checked it out enough, so almost at the bottom. Commodore 64 Basics, a Self-Teaching Guide. This is a pretty hardback book. You don't need to be a pro to start creating programs with animated characters, sophisticated graphics, and music. In fact, you need no computer experience whatsoever. Yeah, right? Commodore 64 Basics makes programming so simple even a child can do it. I guess they were trying to like cater to the younger generation. And lo and behold, more sprite examples. How cool. Nice. There's actually a maze here. You see a little maze there? That'll be interesting. It talks, yeah, this is like a university book, I can tell. I'll show you in a second here. This was very common back in the days when I first was learning a semi-language program basic. They basically, I don't know if you can see it, but they basically teach you how to do flowcharting. I took a class back in a university in Ohio on that. And yeah, pretty interesting. And that was the last one, no diskettes. But anyways, Commodore 64 Game Construction Kit. I've never seen this one, but doesn't that look interesting? Like a pretty cool cover, huh? Okay, it's a pretty hardback book by DataMost. Create your own Commodore 64 basic games. So this is all about games, and you guys are here for games. Obviously, most of you, I don't really know people like much else in games when you're on YouTube. But this looks interesting. It's got some examples too. Here's a picture of try not to read the books, but it's a picture of a castle there. Designing sprites. Oh, look at that. That's kind of cool. I don't know if you can see that, but it's a guitar. Pretty cool stuff. Yeah, there was pretty close to 40 books. That's what he had said. You're probably wondering how much I paid for all these. Probably a little more than I wanted to, but since I wanted them so bad, I just pushed my auction. I actually pushed my bidding up to about $300 because I didn't know if these were going to go that high. I desperately wanted them. Luckily, I didn't have to pay $300, but I paid a little bit of $200 for them. That's a lot of books for the price. I think that's not bad, actually, at all. Yeah, I know I've been absent from the channel for a while, but I just thought I would kind of make just part of like a grand introduction, you know, to come back. What a great way to show you. I'm also going to zoom in on the books to show you them before I leave here. Kind of turn this around at the end and just kind of give you a closer view of them. So you can kind of see them a little bit more up close there. You can kind of see the stacks. See how big the stacks are and stuff like that. There's a lot of books here, so... Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this, and please like and subscribe. They said there'll be more examples coming with some programs soon, and this is Steve Morrow signing off.